guys, how's everyone doing? So, yeah, I need to talk about this. I really need to talk about this Epstein list situation. Now, I'm going to react to one of my favourite YouTubers. He's called Nuxanor. He's an American YouTuber. He's so funny. Makes me laugh. He uses an anime of himself because he gets a lot of death threats and stuff. But he's reacting to another, so I'm reacting to him reacting to someone else. But he's also got other evidence in his video. And yeah, it's just really strange. So let's go on and check his videos out. Nuxanor. And this one's called Insane Day. I agree.
People that believe in justice and the government, welcome to a brand new video. Today, we're covering a lot of insane situations, including moist critical drama. Oh, and also a little bit about Jeffrey Epstein. So there's been some news about this guy, but mostly moist critical mostly moist
The moist critical guy's talking about is him reacting to someone talking about the Jeffrey Epstein. So this is all about Jeffrey Epstein, okay?
critical drama.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to try not to pause so much to make this video super duper long, alright? I'm going to try and, yeah, get it, yeah.
A bit of Epstein on the side. Now, the thing is, there was this entire press briefing that Caroline Leavitt held, the press secretary of Trump, and let's just say she's been cooking. She went out there and the media blasted her straight Epstein drama injected into our veins, all right? I'll be real. So we have lots to look at, lots to do, and I'm gonna catch you up. So it all starts with this mofo over here. All right, this mofo, this piece of asshole. This dude is Jeffrey Epstein. He has run one of the largest sex trafficking operations in the history of the world, as far as we know. Actual disgusting shit. 2-3 years ago, he was locked up, put in prison, and then he allegedly killed himself. All right? There he was, doing his thing, and they found him hanging in his cell. He hanged himself. That's crazy. Now
you also need to remember that a world-famous coroner came forward and said that he also looked at, he'd done an autopsy on Epstein's body, and he said that 3 bones on his neck were broken. One was a hyoid bone, and he'd never, ever in his long ass history of being a medical coroner, or whatever they're called, seen this happen to someone that hung themselves. It's normally someone that's been strangled because the neck has been crushed. And then when you see and then he also mentioned the ligature markers, the ligature marker on the neck, that where it was, it didn't make sense, and he concluded with his investigation, and he concluded that it looked as though it was a homicide, because these bones are normally more conclusive with a strangulation.
Anyway, no one believes that because, let's be real, bro. You see, the pedophile sex trafficked thousands of children to no one, and then killed himself with 2 bullets to the back of his head, while all 3...
Why would someone, right, okay, so they're saying that he sex trafficked these kids to no one, so where's the crime? Why would someone kill themselves if they were going to get off of a crime, if he didn't do anything wrong? Why would he just kill himself? Oh yeah, I'm sitting in prison, and yeah, I know there's absolutely no evidence, but I'm just I'm a billionaire and live the life of high and luxury and amazingness, and I'm just going to kill myself just for the sake of it. Even though he'd been to, a few days beforehand, he had been and he was on suicide watch and had said that he feared for his life because someone had recently tried to kill him. Okay. So he's scared for his life. They put him on suicide watch or whatever. They put these sheets in these cells that make it impossible for you to hang yourselves. They're like paper blankets that just rip if you try and use them for anything like that. And yeah, but he still manages to use the paper sheets to do it. And even though he's terrified that someone's going to try and take him out, he just decides to do it, even though there's absolutely no evidence. And so all these victims, these thousands of victims of Jeffrey Epstein, have no perpetrator. So how can someone be a victim when there's no perpetrator? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And why is Ghislaine Maxwell then sitting in jail for sex trafficking if there was no evidence of sex trafficking? Even though our court case said that there was. Also kind of coincidental that one of the main accusers, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, got hit by a car, a bus, sorry, it was a bus, and then, I don't know, there's no police report for the accident of her being hit by said bus. Then she releases a strange picture that's, she's covered in, like, what looks like some bruises. She releases a strange picture and says she's only got 4 days to live, that she's scared and stuff like that, and all she wants to see is her kids. But then she ends up living, and they send her home only for her to then commit suicide. Yeah.
33 video cameras malfunction at the same time.
Now, that's another thing they said. Remember, they said all the video cameras malfunctioned. That the video cameras malfunctioned. There was no evidence. That's why we couldn't see the video evidence when this happened, because all the video cameras in the prison stopped working. And, oh yeah, and then the guards coincidentally fell asleep. So the guards are asleep, the video cameras stopped working, there's all these victims, but there's no perpetrator for them to be victims. But then he killed himself, even though he's going to get out of jail because there's no evidence to keep him in jail for being a child trafficker. I smell a rat.
Obvious layers of bullshit, because the cameras died, the security wasn't around, every single famous person on the planet went to visit this man, alright, everyone was on this motherfucker's island, alright, I'll be real, everyone was on his island. You got the royalty from England on his island.
Yeah.
You have every president, every prime minister, everyone was there. Listen, we don't know what they did there, but we know that everyone was there.
Not to mention that's how Bill Gates' marriage fell apart. You just have to read Melinda Gates' book. Fell apart because Epstein was blackmailing Bill Gates because he had evidence on him having he had set a relationship up with this young Russian chess player or whatever, and he had evidence that he was cheating on his wife. Bill Gates was cheating on his wife. Is it Melinda Gates? So yeah, that's also weird. And then why would Prince Andrew also have to pay Virginia Giuffre millions and millions of dollars if there's no evidence of any trafficking? Why did one of Prince Andrew's aides, one of the Queen's aides, one of the closest friends to the royal family, come out and say that Andrew was on Epstein Island, I had to say allegedly, sleeping with young girls? There's even more evidence, but we're just going to carry on with the video because I am so mad at this.
And dude just suspiciously dies. Yeah, sure. So anyway, there are layers and layers onto this level of bullshit. His partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell, is still in prison. The recent news is that the government has announced that there is no Epstein list. There are no files. There's no list, no files, no one, no shit, nothing's happening. Now, the reason why this is very suspicious, if there are no clients, Why
Yeah,
am I in
exactly.
jail? Obviously, there's some crazy shit happening. Now, they released all the security footage, okay? This was one of the big W's. They released all.
This was weird. So they released the security footage, even though they said remember they said the cameras weren't working. We zoom in here. You can see like even like at the time they claimed that Epstein killed himself. You can see the guards moving around, but I thought they were asleep. But there's one point in the video where there's literally lost time. Watch this.
Security
Watch the
footage of the
time.
actual Epstein case. So, as you can see here, this is the time on the footage. Pay attention to the time. It is currently 11:58:57 on the footage. As you can see, here is a door, which is not Epstein's door. The camera in front of Epstein's door wasn't working. So this camera is facing this hallway. Epstein's door is around this corner. So obviously you can't see shit, all right? Now, this is the actual footage that they released. Now, this is unedited, but look.
The smoking gun. Nothing that he done it. He done it himself, even though he committed no crime. Okay.
Look at what happens when it hits 59. It skips a minute and the camera frames differently.
See that?
So people notice something. All right. Now, this is the actual footage that they released. Now, this is unedited, but look at what happens when it hits 59. It skips a minute and the camera frames differently. So
a minute skips and the camera frames differently. Are you trying to tell me that someone highly trained and we know like special forces guys and they can literally get in and out of a place super quick, they could get in there. I don't know, someone on his cell block could have got into, like, that's what I suspect happened. I think that it was someone on his cell block, they had got to do this, and that minute is them letting that cellmate out in Epstein's cell, strangled him with a kettle cord. That's what I truly believe. And then because you can't see anything, then he's able to sneak back into his own cell. And how do we even know that this is real footage, especially with AI? Do you honestly think that these dates, these stamps, can't be changed? I can literally go into my phone and say it's June 2nd, 1942. Take a recording with that time and date and put a time in and put it in the corner and make a recording and be like, oh, it's 1942, yay, I traveled back in time. Hello, past, woo! Please. Like, honestly, they're treating us like we're idiots.
People notice something pretty odd. 58:59, and then it skips a minute. So 1 minute of footage is missing from the security camera. For whatever reason. And the camera seems to have been reframed for whatever reason. You could argue that the camera's probably been looped and something suspicious is going on, but they released this without announcing it. People picked up on this themselves. I saw CoffeeZilla.
Especially this. We have do you know what else this could have happened? What this could have been? You see it. You've seen it happen in movies where they're able to, what he's just said there, what Nux has just said there. Okay? This is what I believe. I don't think like that's a minute missing. I think that they've recorded a part, okay? They've recorded a day or whatever, or a night throughout the prison. Then they've looped the camera so it's running, not live footage at this point. I think that at this point, after it hits 12, that footage, because the camera angles also change on a fixed camera, a fixed station camera. I think what they did was before it hit that minute mark, when the minute goes missing, that's live footage up until there. When it hits that minute mark, when it shows the minute is missing, they are playing pre-recorded footage from then on out. it makes sense to me that they've looped the frame and they're playing pre-recorded footage. So do you understand? I don't know if you guys will be getting what I'm meaning. So you've seen it in movies where they'll take a record and say, like, they don't want to show themselves in an elevator or something. So they'll record the elevator empty. Then they'll get into the system, put in a loop feed, put in a new feed into what's meant to be like the live footage, but it's pre-recorded. So that makes it look, though, when someone's in the elevator, it's not live footage. It's pre-recorded, so it looks like it makes it look like to the cameras and the viewers that the elevator's empty. So before that, I think we had live footage. It hits that mark, and from then on out, the footage is pre-recorded. It's pre-recorded. I truly think that.
Talking about it. Now, this is pretty freaking.
Also, again, because the camera frame moves. So it's pre-recorded from another day, night. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's windows in this place, so you can't tell if it's day or night. So this is pre-recorded from another day or another night. I have no idea. But obviously Epstein's meant to be locked. This is midnight, so he's obviously locked in his cell. So you're not going to be seeing like him walking around and stuff. Beforehand, you do see him walking in the courtyard. If you watch the full, skim through the whole video. They take him to his cell. Then the guards go and like sit down and stuff. Then it hits this specific mark at 11:57. Jumps to 12:57. So there's a minute missing, okay? And it's allowed them to switch over to then pre-recorded recording. And the reason I think this as well is because when you watch, they said the security guards fell asleep. But when you watch it after this jump and you zoom in, you can see the security guards. They're clearly awake. One of them's like scrolling on the computer. Another one's like sitting off at the side. There's two of them. So how they're obviously not asleep. So why say that when they said like beforehand? Yeah, they were asleep. So they would have had this the actual live footage of this camera vantage. Let's rewind it again, and they would have been able to zoom in. This is where the prison guards sit, and they would have been able to see what they were doing. And they would have been able to see that it fell asleep, and that's why those guys also lost their job. And I believe they even got charged for that. Why would they charge them when it clearly looks in the footage after midnight that they're still awake? Like, yous have made this so sloppy. So sloppy. Like, do you think we're going to forget everything that you said before? You told us all the cameras were broken first. Now, apparently one automatically works. Okay. But who's to say that's the date? They didn't change the date. But maybe that was the date. Okay, maybe maybe they've not changed the date on that. But that time jump and the camera frame make it so suspicious, and in my opinion, so obvious that they cut the live feed, and from then on, and then jumped it on over to pre-recorded footage either from the night before or a previous night or day or whatever, and then let this pre-recorded footage play on out after that to make it look so you don't see if anyone comes in, you don't see if anyone else in that prison unit because he was on this prison unit with a couple other guys who all weirdly vanished without a trace after this event happened, and whose names, wouldn't be released. One was a cop killer, in fact, I believe. And so of course, like, someone could have got in. Someone could have walked down those steps. If that's the way you get into the area of where he's being kept, all right? Someone could have. We're in the pre-recorded stage, so it looks like this is live. It's not live. So obviously, someone's like walking down the stairs. You walk right to Epstein's cell, or another. As I says, another prisoner in there who was probably maybe promised, oh, if you do this for us, we'll skedaddle you out of here, pretend we're transferring you, do a Shanghai kind of stuff thing. I have no idea. But I honestly, in my heart of hearts, because of the frame change, because of that minute jump, now think this is not live footage that we're watching. It is pre-recorded. And if it's pre-recorded, we are not going to see anyone coming down those stairs, going towards Epstein's cell, nothing like that. But then again, it also makes no sense because they also said that all the cameras had stopped working. Now there's it was saying, oh, the one at his cell wasn't working. So we don't know, we know he killed his cell, but all the cameras magically stopped working. They could have just showed this one, which would have shown that no one came in, no one came out. Okay, why didn't they show this one to begin with? Because it obviously, in my humble opinion, definitely shows someone going into Epstein's cell. It definitely shows them leaving, or some instance that shows the guards asleep, or if this has been a special ops team that's come in to do this. It's showing them coming down the stairs, heading to Epstein's cell, and walking back up the stairs, and all under the cover of invisibility, because they've switched now the live recording feed to now a pre-recorded feed. Because you can do that with these kind of cameras. You can do that. I actually went and researched it to make sure that when I was speaking about this, because I wanted to be right, that you can do this. This is a way a lot of intel agents, and you'll get MI6, MI5, a lot of CIA agents they're able to get into places undetected because they'll hook up into the video server, the camera infrastructure, and what they'll do is, a few plugs, a little USB pen or whatever, excuse me, just sit that inside, flip a switch, the footage then jumps to 12, because the reason it jumps to 12 is because it was recorded on another night, and that's maybe when that footage started being, they've taken that recording from, and they've just switched the dates about, or maybe not. It's definitely not live footage, in my opinion. What makes it so obvious that this is pre-recorded footage is that jump at 1 minute, and the fact that the angle of that fixed camera changed. Now, we all know that prisons and that need to be cleaned, so obviously dust and that'll get on security cameras. So when they're cleaned and stuff, they'll maybe get moved a little inch or two here or there. Not very much, because they're in a fixed position. This one was clearly nudged a tiny bit. You can see it kind of clearly when you watch. See this little white bin? And it's got like a little brown barcodey looking thing inside it. Watch that. Okay.
Of footage is missing from the security camera. For whatever reason. And the camera seems to have been reframed for whatever reason. You could argue that the camera's probably been looped and something suspicious is going on, but they released this without announcing it. People picked up on this themselves. I saw CoffeeZilla talking about it.
No, he's not sure the whole time.
Actual footage.
Right.
So this camera is facing this hallway. Epstein's door is around this corner.
Bucket.
So obviously you can't see shit, all right? Now, this is the actual footage that they released. Now, this is unedited, but look at what happens when it hits 59. It skips a minute and the camera frames differently.
Look.
So people notice something pretty odd. 58, 59, and then it skips a minute. So 1 minute of footage is missing from the security camera.
You see that it gets the angle slightly changes with that white box thing. So the camera has been it has been nudged or something, or it's just slightly adjusted when they're maybe doing a camera check or something like that. But it wouldn't just do that automatically if this was a live recording. It wouldn't. It would stay in that fixed position. Even if that was just a tiny little glitch within the camera system. But these camera systems are so sophisticated that this is unheard of, them doing things like that. Unheard of. I even spoke to someone who puts up security cameras for a company. And this person told me, when I asked him about this footage, he says he's never seen that happen before. Unless there's been tampering. He says the only time he's ever saw that happen was in a jewellery store. And he says it happened when there was a heist going on. So you see the jewellery store, it's all, the floor's all empty and stuff, it's all closed. Next thing, the camera kind of glitches forward a minute, like what happened here, because that's them switching over from live feed to pre-recorded. Then they go in, they rob the entire store, take millions worth of diamonds and other precious gems and stuff like that, and just walk out of it. And because it's on a pre-recorded loop, they're never. It looks like a ghost has robbed this jewellery store. That's the story that I was told, and he said that's the only time he's seen that. So I just want to make that perfectly clear that before this was recorded live. That jump is the transition over to the pre-recording. So it's now not a live video, although it makes it look live because the pre-recording is running on the live feed network. So anyone could have came in there, taken Epstein out, and just walked on out.
For whatever reason. And the camera seems to have been reframed for whatever reason. You could argue that the camera's probably been looped and something suspicious is going on. But they released this without announcing it. People picked up on this themselves. I saw CoffeeZilla talking about it. Now, this is pretty freaking weird, okay? This is pretty freaking weird. Now, this is Kash Patel. He's the head of the FBI right now. But this is right before he was elected to the FBI. You say that the FBI...
Now, this is the guy here, Kash Patel, who beforehand, years and years beforehand, he used to work for the first Trump administration, And he was like, yeah, it's all a big cover up. I know how the government works. Blah, blah, blah. When I could get you. Just listen to what he says.
Guy has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
All right, so Kash Patel, before he becomes in charge of the FBI, he says it's because of who is on that list. That is why it's not released. He's scared. He's saying that people are scared that it's going to expose a lot of powerful people. All right. Now, this makes sense. Very logical. He ends up going to the FBI. He ends up actually getting elected. This is fantastic news. He will finally release the Epstein files. It's what everyone's been waiting for. We want to know and actually punish all these degenerate pieces of shit, right? Like, let's be honest. We want these guys to eat shit.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Anyway, this is what Kash Patel said after he went on Joe Rogan. That's a longer clip. I don't need to clip that
joke
long. Hold on, let me.
Interview I have ever seen.
There we go.
We've got footage, and you're getting it.
And that's the footage I showed you that a minute was cut out.
And then you can make up your own mind, and the theories can continue. But my job.
So you became aware of this footage recently?
The ones that we're looking at, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but this is like an article from quite a while ago that was saying that the footage was mistakenly erased.
Look, I mean, it goes back to the same. Ask the people that were in power then. I mean, I get it that you want to hold me to account for their actions, and
no, I'm not
not
saying,
you, not you.
I'm not saying that.
Not you. Just the public in general, and that's okay.
What's confusing to everybody today? First of all, it's very confusing because AI can kind of make anything. You know, which has got to be a bizarre position for you to be in when you're looking at videos. I mean, I've watched Viking videos that look real as fuck. You know, they just make Viking towns. I mean, it's really quite incredible what they're doing now, and it accelerates every month. I mean, I talked to Elon about it, and he said we're blown away literally every week. Every week there's some new breakthrough. We're like, wow, we didn't expect that.
Well, I can tell you after having looked at it, this ain't going to be AI.
You don't think so?
It's just not great. You know, it's like if it were AI, like someone wanted to come in and make it, they'd make it better.
But why would you make it better when people could, you could have ambiguous footage that is, totally generated by AI? I mean, AI can generate blurry images. AI can generate night vision. AI can generate.
Call him out, Joe. Call him out on his BS.
Essentially anything that's already existed, like really shitty 1984 VHS tapes, they can do that.
They can. But I'm telling you, I'm giving you the tape from the tape. There's, just like I'm giving you the documents from the vault, just like
the tape from the tape, documents from the vault. Like, I thought there was no tape. And documents from the vault. We've not had anything. We've had a statement saying that he killed himself and there is no evidence of any clients or evidence of child sex trafficking at all. So who would there's thousands of these kids that have come out, there are young women now that have came out and says they were trafficked, and they've named the perpetrators of who they were trafficked to, like i.e. Andrew Gates, you know, the whole shtick of them. And but yeah, nothing to see here. There is no list, there is nothing. I honestly think, I truly believe, I have no idea, but either the last administration got rid of this, or it's so bad. I don't know. I don't know how anybody can protect, even if these are powerful people. I would rather die and be taken out or imprisoned than protect a child predator. Especially one with thousands of victims. Just because you're powerful and elite doesn't make you above the law. But yeah, apparently Yeah, nothing to see here, nothing, there's no evidence whatsoever. Like, what, where is it? Because you have been claiming you have had these lists, like, Pam Bondi said that she had the client list on her desk. Multiple times she said she had the client list on her desk. What happened to that client list? Now, I've not watched all this video, so I'm just like newly reacting to this. So I'm sorry if I'm stopping and starting, because I'm just so angry at this. Sorry, I have to like put this charger in. So I'm so angry at this. So she said like she's got the clients list and stuff like that. So what happened to the clients list? What is it on like magician paper where you just have to like, I don't know, like rub it and it turns into powder? What happened to all the evidence? Did they strap them to the wings of I don't know, like I know I was kidding on, like, that. Did they strap like the file cabinet onto the rocket that Elon was sent up on to like get those astronauts on, so and then launched it into space? Did they like throw it into like the bottom of the Mariana Trench so it'll never be able to be recovered? Where's this list that this Pam Bondi claims was on her desk? Gathering dust on her desk. I mean, it's literally gathering dust. Here's the client list. This is me with the client list in my hand. I've taken out Pam Bondi's desk. Hold on, I'm getting rid of all the dust. Big thick clayey dust, you know, because it's not just Trump and stuff like that. This is covered up by Biden, Clinton. A lot of them are all complicit in this. And I know, like, I like Trump and stuff, but yeah, I'm calling them all out in this. So we'll blow the dust off of the client list. Okay, who's on the client list? Nothing to see here. Really? So all those girls that came forward and testified in the Maxwell trial, and the fact that she was found guilty of trafficking young girls. How could she be trafficking young girls when there's when they've found no evidence that he was trafficking young girls to people? How could she be trafficking young girls when they're now saying like there's no crime of them doing this? So again, like, why is Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in jail for child trafficking when they're like there's victims, but there's no perpetrator? And again, like, how can you have victims with no perpetrator? So that takes away like all the credibility from the victims. It takes away, it makes a mug of the victims of these monsters. That their stories of what happened to them on that island, the things that they had to endure, the people that they would mention that were involved. I'll name the most famous ones, like Prince Andrew and stuff like that. Yeah, nothing to see here. Move along, people. You know, do not believe in what your lying eyes have told you. Do not believe those lying eyes.
Giving you information to Congress on COVID origins or what have you. Right. What we find is what you're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Great.
the narrative has always been that there's video.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the chain of custody? Is there evidence that there is video? Is there evidence that it was moved around, stored, protected from people looking at it? Like,
You're going to get all that information. Like, that's literally what we're putting together.
But we didn't.
And
We got nothing. We got a memo saying that he killed himself and there's no evidence that he ever trafficked anyone. So why was he arrested in the first place for child trafficking? Why wasn't he released from prison when they went through his servers and stuff like that and seen that there is no evidence of him trafficking? Why would he kill himself if he knew there was no evidence of him trafficking and that he would have most likely walked? The case would have fell apart and he would have walked back into his cushy lifestyle. It makes no sense!
we're going to give you every single thing we have in
Now
Canada.
shut up!
And
Honestly,
that's the whole...
I used to like this guy. Now I just think he's like, he's so twitchy. And I honestly really like this guy. Now I just feel like he's just another meat puppet with the deep state, with their hands up his ass, you know, moving his lips, directing him what to say. Joke.
point. And so it's just stuff like that.
Since we were talking about fake news, this is going to come up because it's been going on since we've been recording here. Elon and Trump seem to be in a bit of a spat.
Okay, whatever. That doesn't matter anymore. But when you see the obvious difference in the side by side of him over here,
why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list.
All right.
You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And
because he's on it, and we knew he was on it. There's articles, and there's been journalists out like doing deep dives into this. Like so much work, like these journalists that have done that showed that Bill Gates was being blackmailed by Epstein because Epstein wanted Bill Gates to pay $100 million into a foundation that Epstein was setting up. Bill didn't want to do it, so Epstein got out the video of him with this young Russian chess player, and basically says to him, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to like release this, and I'm going to ruin your life and ruin your marriage, and yeah. And I ended up, I think he ended up saying no, and whoops-a-doo, what then happened after that? Oh, the information that Bill Clinton was having a affair with this young Russian chess player came out, which caused the destruction of him and his wife's marriage. Interesting.
why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but release the names, right? And I've said it, Dan Bongino said it, we've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release.
Right.
He killed himself.
Fantastic shit. Anyway, so obviously that's not super satisfying, especially because if you look at Pam Bondi, she's also the head of Secret Service. All right, so this is what she had to say.
I saw your appearance at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz, and one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients.
All right.
Will that really happen?
That's huge, right? Because if we release the Department of Justice, if we release the list of all the clients, you know who the pedophiles are, baby. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
It's sitting on my desk right now to
the list is on her desk. She has the list.
review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that.
So
I'm reviewing JFK
list
files, MLK files. That's all
on
in the
her
process
desk
of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
My
So
God.
have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay, well, we'll check back with you. I saw your appearance.
All right, so she has the list.
James Comer said yesterday that all the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm the status of them? We still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn.
Tens of thousands of videos.
And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're...
That's me trying to make her look like a clown.
...going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement.
All right, so they have the list. They have tens of thousands of videos. Justin, U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI conclude that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide and had no list. This is breaking news from today. So let me be real. They're lying. They're so obviously lying. It's
we know
insane
that.
how much they're obviously lying. Oh my God. Like, dude, we have to stop making believe that there's even a side of this that they might be telling the truth. This is complete hogwash, okay? They are literally looking you in the eyes, slapping you across the face, and lying to your ass. There is no alternative. Now, I obviously have theories. I obviously have some theories. I think that it implicates a lot of powerful people. And because of that, obviously, people want to be assholes and not release that and implicate all those powerful people. Now, I don't know if Jeffrey Epstein was some secret CIA agent that he was getting blackmail on people. I don't know if he was
This
MI6.
is another thing they accused of him being. They accused him of being. He had ties to the CIA. He had ties to Mossad. He had ties to MI6. He had ties to all of these people. So I truly do believe he is part of the intel group. And then you also have to remember that Maxwell, so Robert Maxwell had deep ties to Mossad, CIA, and UK intelligences. What happened to him? Well, he was out sailing in his boat one day and mysteriously his luxury yacht, I might add, and mysteriously he fell off, and God knows, God knows how that happened, you know. Got a little bit of blunt force trauma to the head. Yeah. They took him out on that boat. Of course they did. But see, the weird thing about Robert Maxwell, and I know I stick up a lot for Israel, but why did Israel held a state funeral? Israel held a state funeral for Robert Maxwell. A state funeral. So it's very clear he was part of Mossad.
I don't know if he was Mossad. He has connections to all of those different Secret Service through himself, through his partner in crime. There are so many different conspiracy theories, but the truth of the matter is, they're lying. I don't know what the reality is, but I know that it's not what they are telling me, okay? So, Moist Critical crashed the fuck out, all right? He made a video, he lost his shit. Now, you don't understand. This dude never makes politics videos, all right? Never.
This guy that he's about to react to, he doesn't make political videos. He's very chill. He's one of these sweethearts, very well educated, and he doesn't make political videos at all. He stays away from all that on his channel. And you never see this guy ever get angry. Oh, this is the first time I'd ever seen him get angry.
Makes politics videos, but he crashed the fuck out. I didn't watch it. People told me I needed to see it.
I'm about to have a conniption. I'm sure all of you have seen this by now, but I have to yap about it. It is infuriating. New information just dropped from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. If you want to call it that, I don't think that nomenclature applies to this circus that's being performed here with all of this. It's a clown show. It's about as much of an investigation as Bozo investigating a pie that was thrown in his face. It's a fucking joke.
I'm glad people
Read
know.
this headline and
dude.
tell me it doesn't make you fail the try not to fume challenge. This shit has got me steaming. They are trying to, with a straight face, say that Jeffrey Epstein never had a client list and did commit suicide.
You see, the thing is, Jeffrey Epstein simply trafficked 1,000 children to no one. That's right. It was all for him. He was a professional diddler. Or something.
There was no foul play, no fishy business there. That was no horseradish, no flag on the play, just a...
Trump is taking the heat for this. Dude, it's not just Trump, okay? It's every...
And... Oh, I wanted to make a point here. Let me rewind this.
For him. He was a professional diddler.
Yeah.
Or something.
There was no foul play, no fishy...
So my point is, as well as, why were Maxwell out recruiting young girls? Why did Virginia Giuffre admit that she and other girls who have came forward said they ended up, so they were groomed, you know, and then they started going out and finding these young schoolgirls to come back to Epstein's and, you know, service him and service his clientele, and they get paid these $300. I mean, that's a lot of money to young impoverished kids.
Business there. That was no horseradish, no flag on the play, just a...
Trump is taking the heat for this. Dude, it's not just Trump,
It's
okay?
all
it's
of
everyone.
them.
Biden sat on this for years. All right, everyone sat on this shit. No one's releasing it. It's so infuriating. And that's why I really feel like there has to be so much more to it. Listen, it's everyone. It's everyone. It's the whole fucking government. Obviously, there is some crazy, underhanded shit. That's why the conspiracy theories actually hold water. The conspiracy theories hold water because it literally doesn't even matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. Everyone somehow came together to put this shit under the rug. Bro, if Trump would have been on Epstein's list, all right, if it would implicate Trump, you don't think Kamala Harris or Biden would have released it in order to get Trump to not become president of the United States for the second time? Obviously, they would have. But they couldn't do it. They literally couldn't do it. For whatever reason, they couldn't release the list.
The classical suicide, also no client list, no blackmail, no evidence of either of those two things. How peculiar, considering it wasn't that long ago
We have investigated ourselves and found it completely innocent on all charges.
that they were flaunting that the client list was coming out, the Epstein files were releasing.
They've been doing that. They've been trying.
The phase
Oh
one
my
files.
God, dude, I totally remember that. They got all the fucking influencers holding the binders saying Epstein files. They were going out there, waving it around, making it look like they're so based.
To a bunch of influencers online for some photo ops, and they were posing like fucking prom pictures. They made a big hoopla that those were the Epstein files in their paws right there. And they'll eventually release to us plebeians out here.
Nope.
Well, if there's no client list,
Surprise!
what the fuck is in those
Suck my
folders?
titties.
What,
They're
like,
empty.
Pokemon card binder? Like,
you
what
know
did you
what
give
it
them?
smells like?
Yeah, apparently there's no client list, so what did you hand them? Just an empty file?
It's just giant files of child porn for all the professionals to look at. Yes, this is child porn. Yes.
True. What was in the binders that they handed them of the so-called evidence? Because it seems a lot more than they've shown the public. So, yeah, what was in there? Did they open the binder up and just I don't know? Was it one of like the Mission Impossible things? Or as soon as you open up You'll have 30 seconds to read what you can before this binder blows up. You know, nothing would shock me at this point.
Yes, I agree. What about this one? That one's also child porn.
Folder? And not only that, Pam Bondi herself here, she has made so many statements about, like, how the Epstein client list is on her desk.
Exactly. She has said this statement so many times. So many times. That the Epstein client list is sitting on her desk. Oh, wait, let's make that a little bit cleaner. The Epstein client list is sitting on my desk right now. So, where is it, Pam? Where is it? Sitting on a shelf, like it says, like growing dust?
Right now, it's over there gathering dust. She'll eventually brush it all off and
getting there.
drip feed us the information as it comes, and everyone that's on that list is gonna face justice. She was cutting WWE promos about the Jeffrey Epstein client list.
One of the reasons why people were so excited for Trump to become president, I think, was because he said he was going to release the list. And now there is no list! No list! It's like, oh my God.
She'd even set hard dates on when it's gonna drop like it was a new album. Mark your calendars, sports fans. The Epstein files dropping on this date. Then the date rolls around and it's just nothing. Like, actually nothing Burger Central. Like,
Brutal.
Shit got more delayed than Half-Life 3. It just never showed up, even though she would set dates, and then all of a sudden she's got excuses for why it's not there. But now, apparently there was no client list in the first place. So what the fuck was sitting on your desk, Pam?
Turns out the most transparent administration is not transparent enough.
Yeah, what was sitting on her desk? What, a shopping list? I have no idea. What could she could turn around and say, the list that I had on my desk is a list of victims. But how can you have victims when you don't have a perpetrator? Which again takes away from the victims, that it says to them, nothing ever happened to you, what you're saying isn't true, because there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever that Epstein ever trafficked you guys out. Virginia Giuffre even gave an interview and said that she was trafficked out to Prince Andrew while in London. You remember the famous interview with Andrew where he was all over the place. You got the nonsense about he doesn't sweat, and it was a train wreck, an utter train wreck. Why would he have to do that if he hadn't been dodgy there? She was told that what she was doing with Jeffrey, she had to then go and do with Andrew. And she gave so many descriptions about the nightclub they were at, so many descriptions of that they were in a bathtub together. You just have to go and read like the depositions of the court. It's horrifying. So, what are you calling her a liar as well now? Obviously. What are you hiding?
Baby, it's just not enough. It really isn't.
How could the client list be sitting on your desk when the
If there is
DOJ
no
and
client
FBI say that there is no client list?
You see, we were distracted by all the child porn to realize that there actually are no guilty people. That's right.
What an interesting...
Yeah. How can there be like child porn and traffic, like all these hundreds of thousands of videos that they claim to have, but yet they're there's no trafficker. that they were trafficked to. No evidence of that. Never happened.
The sheer volume of nothing.
Well, that's quite a conundrum.
Yeah.
She says that she had the client list, like a physical copy on her desk.
She did. She absolutely did. And I'm now suspecting, like I said, that file cabinet filled with the information was either shredded by the last weeks or months of the Biden administration, or, and I have to take, I do like Trump, but I have to call it out how I see it. Either that, it seems like they do have evidence, but for some reason they are lying to protect powerful people. They're lying about it. As if we're kind of some uneducated, zombified, low IQ morons that are just going to like suckle on the teat of whatever the government tells us and just drink it like Kool-Aid. No, absolutely not. And yeah, you'll get some people that'll be quite happy with this reply, but if you are a logical, sane person, who has done even a quarter of the research that even I've done on this, you will know that none of this makes any sense whatsoever. And like I said before, why is Maxwell then sitting in prison? Why is she? Why was there evidence of trafficking in her case, which was tied to Jeffrey Epstein, but for his case, it vanished. There's nothing here. Nothing here to see. People, move along. Move along. Do not trust what your lying eyes are telling you. Unreal.
Constantly has referenced the client list, spoken directly about the client list.
True.
But now all of a sudden, DOJ and FBI said it's not a real thing.
All those children that were getting fucked by no one. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh no, that's a bit too far there. I'll call that out. But I'll say that all these children that are saying like they're the victims, and the government are now saying that how can, like, basically this is what they're saying, how can they be victims when there's nobody to like make them victims? There's no aggressor, there's no client there's no trafficking, even though the Maxwell case said the exact opposite. What we need here, I think, is to get someone in to interview Maxwell, hook her up to a polygraph machine, if be, get someone like Megyn Kelly in to interview her, and yeah, start asking her, because even she said, and I don't believe the word of a filthy scoundrel whose dad was not a good human being, but for self-preservation, why, knowing that what happened to her BFF Jeffrey, why would she come out and say, yeah, I don't believe that I killed Esau, and one of the only interviews that she's ever done? Now this could be grounds actually to get her off her 20-year sentence, because her main reasons for being imprisoned are sex trafficking of minors. But how can you be sex trafficking minors when there's, and then the government are now claiming that there were no sex trafficking to other minors to others?
I have no
You've heard of victimless crimes, but now we're talking about victimful not crimes.
idea how she's even going to begin to tackle that.
I don't know. I feel like she's never going to tackle it. Like, what are you going to do, bro? What are you going to do? It's like, oh yeah, when I said the list, I just meant the list of victims, not the list of criminals. It's like, how do you have victims if you have no criminals?
That's what I just said. I just said the exact same thing, Knox. How do you have victims when you have no criminals? Which delegitimizes all the testimonies and evidence that was brought forward in the Maxwell case. And it delegitimizes these women's stories. And these women have brought evidence that they worked for Epstein and the horrific things that he would make them do.
Yeah, he didn't actually keep that list. You know, like, he Hillaried the emails, bro.
That plot hole there. It is crazy how stupid they treat.
Second, guys. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that.
The rest of humanity, like all of the people on the planet are.
By the way, true. Completely true. Absolutely. Absolutely. They think we're such fucking idiots. They could just say things, and it doesn't even matter if everyone knows that they're lies. Everyone knows it's not true, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, Trump's got to start another war with Iran right now to get us off of this shit. Bro, this is ridiculous.
Are lobotomites, and they can be fed any information whatsoever, and they'll accept it with a smile on their face and think nothing of it. And in some cases, that does happen. But in something like this, there should be 0 people on the planet that are happy with this. And
even the biggest Trump glazer, all right, wants the Epstein list. Absolutely.
Believe this, because this is the most blatant, fraudulent lie since Wes Watson lying about being 6 feet tall. This is absurd. This is just ridiculous. It is downright
maybe the biggest lie since Moist Critical said he was average height.
Diabolical.
Diabolical! Oh my god.
To be doing a cover-up job like this. It's literally fart investigated poop and found no shit. They have talked about it themselves for so long about having this client list.
Not anymore.
And all of this blackmail evidence and everything.
Turns out everyone's on the list, and when everyone's on the list, no one is.
Thinking about how all of them are going to face.
Oopsie poopsie, our list was on the missile that bombed the Iranian nuclear facility.
Justice, Pam Bondi.
Yeah, I bet it was. I bet that'd be the new excuse, you know. Oh, God. Oh, we stupidly, it ended up stuck to the bomb that we used to fire on the Iranian nuclear facility. I don't know what happened, but for some reason it got stuck to the shoe of Pam Bondi or one of these agencies. They went down to like inspect the bomb or whatever, and it unluckily ended up stuck to the bomb, and now it's obliterated into a billion pieces. Otherwise, like I said, that file cabinet is in the Mariana Trench, so we're never getting that back. They have skirted it down to the wreckage of the Titanic, knowing that no one's going to go near there again after the implosion of that submarine. And because, like, people think that is a tomb now, basically, a grave site, and it's disrespectful to be using it for tourists. Or, like I said, it was strapped to the wing of a rocket, either by Biden, who sent those astronauts up before Elon managed to get up, and I mean, they were up there for 80 days. 80 days! And Biden was still president. Was the file cabinet duct taped to the wings? It seems awful like it.
talked about tens of thousands of videos that they recovered as well. Like, how are you going to just wipe your ass with that and expect people to believe it? If anyone believes this, you need serious psychiatric help. If you actually swallow this shit they fed you with this information, that it's, a case of suicide, no client list, and no blackmail, you really need to take a hard look in the mirror.
I'll be real. I think I could believe 2 of those things. All right? But all 3 of them is impossible. Impossible. It literally is impossible.
Because you are just not like a thinker. Like, you don't have a thinking cap on at all.
Like, bro, everyone agrees there's thousands of victims. Thousands of victims. How could there be no clients? They didn't traffic thousands of people to no one, bro. Like, we have got to...
Thousands of victims that claim they were trafficked, but yeah, when I guess they were allegedly trafficked, they got to the island and were met with, I don't know, massages, cocktails, just living their best life on the beach, Nothing untoward happened, even though people that worked on that island said that there was scrupulous and disgraceful things happening, and he witnessed it himself. And he even named Clinton as being one of them. Andrew was another. So, and then also, it also came out from a former employee of Epstein that every room in Epstein's home had these small little drills in the hole, but it wouldn't be enough for someone to just notice. And these little kind of like laser-like micro cameras were installed in each of the bedrooms. I know when you invite someone to stay at your home, you don't put a video camera in their room and hopefully catch them in the act, especially if they're sitting there with a partner, of maybe doing something, which is natural, human beings why can't I say that word? Procreate. So, yeah. So, why is all these videos in all the rooms? It's clearly, videos of Andrew popping his head out, wishing young as hell girl gives a little peck, then waves her out as he's only wearing nothing but a house coat. I wonder what could have happened there. Yeah. And I truthfully do believe they think we masses, we working class of the British island, they treat us as if we're so second-class citizens and we have no brain, no capacity, absolutely nothing to I don't know what to say.
Stop doing this. We have got to stop doing this.
Because this is just absurd. There should be no one on the planet that is fooled by this. This should make you mad. It absolutely should make you very upset.
It made me so
because
mad.
This is blatantly covering up for corrupt, evil people in high positions of power. I saw this said as a joke, but I actually think we're pretty close to them just denying Jeffrey Epstein ever even existed in the first.
Do you know what? That he's not the first guy I've heard say that. That their next step will be coming out because they've totally left out the fact that Alex Acosta was quoted in saying that the reason that Epstein got that sweetheart deal on his first arrest, which was soliciting a minor, he got a sweetheart deal where he could go out during the day, keep doing his business, flying places, living the life. And then at night, he just would go back to the prison and, yeah, chill out. And he had the part that was all for himself, filled with the most amazing stuff. And he would, it was a form of, blackmail. Oh, I'm so nice to you, I'm such a good person, I'm giving you things to prove I'm a nice person. No, your words and deeds proves that you're a nice person. You are a disgrace, honestly. This administration, and I hate to say it, it's let itself down on this day, and I don't know how Cash and Bongino can ever come back from the statements that they've made. I honestly don't. I mean, they're on whatever account they use, if it's TikTok or whatever, showing how their new skin line work. Oh, who cares, Who cares? We just want the truth.
Place. I really think the next step here is they're gonna start talking about evidence.
Jeffrey Epstein? You mean that guy that was invented by the government? Wait, what do you mean?
To confirm that Jeffrey Epstein was never real. It was a code name for.
So that's what I've seen a lot of people say on the internet. That next time that we'll hear that there was never really a guy called Jeffrey Epstein, that it was a code name, and therefore you're not allowed into certain areas, if you know what I mean. But, yeah.
Like a shadow operative that never actually existed.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I feel like that's crazy.
There was no island. There were no victims. I think we are not far away from them trying that play. Because they are using every weird tactic in the book to try and bury anything even remotely related to Jeffrey Epstein, while trying to put on a strong face about how everyone's going to face justice.
Yeah.
Well, where's that? That hasn't happened. Right. And it hasn't happened for years. So what is up with all of this lying? They just keep kicking the can down the road. They have still not released the Epstein files, and now they've put the kibosh on it, saying the Epstein files aren't even real in the first place.
You know what I'm really curious about? Obviously, I want to know who the fucking pedophiles are. That's one. But one thing that I'm really curious about is, what is the reasoning for the government lying like this? Like, why are they lying like this? And it's only a handful of people that actually know the truth. Right?
Sorry to say it, but they're probably all on it. I mean, I get that as soon as Trump found out that he was a pedo, he did work with the FBI to help take this guy down and cut all ties with the friendship with him. We cannot say that just because someone was on a flight log or went to that island that they participated in this. That's ludicrous to even assume that, I'd like to believe that not all these people are sick. And I have to give props to Trump for at least going into the FBI and giving a statement of Epstein's treatment of one of Trump's young staff at Mar-a-Lago. So he stepped away from him. The people I do have a problem with is the people that continued to have a friendship with him after he had been tried and convicted of soliciting a minor, a child, i.e. Andrew and the rest of the elitist pieces of S, that I hung around with.
So why are they lying? Literally, why? Blackmail?
Blackmail, yeah. To protect his identity. Because he's not just like a trafficker. There's evidence that he is an asset for all these foreign intel agencies.
Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my lord.
It's all just made up, a fucking illusion. So now it is 100% ensuring everyone that was associated with all of that evil gets away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just proudly doing it in front of the entire American public's face, spitting in everyone's...
It's not just American public. It's a worldwide sham. You don't understand. You don't understand. They had connections.
Yeah, it's a worldwide sham. I mean, he was doing it in England. He was doing it in multiple other countries. This is a worldwide thing where we were promised transparency. We were promised that we would get to see we obviously we don't want to see any of the CP that was going on. No one wants to see that. But we are entitled to the paperwork, not just a bland generic statement released on a Sunday night during 4th of July weekend, which was then, and I would quite likely so, the floods happened and stuff like that. But we all know that statements put out on a Sunday are nothing burgers. Sorry, I'm sucking on a mint at the moment. Give me a second.
To CIA, to Mossad, to French intelligence. They had tangible connections through family ties or shit like that to all of these different Secret Service places. I don't know what went on, obviously, but there has been some heinous shit that went on. I don't know.
His mouth by trying to say it doesn't exist, it's not real. No client list, no blackmail, nothing like that, and he did kill himself. And apparently they're releasing some surveillance camera footage, like a lot of hours worth of that.
Yeah, which was all nothing except for that it skipped a minute.
To show that no one entered his cell during any of that.
And it didn't even show his cell.
That time. Obviously just doing everything in their power.
That didn't show his cell, plus it done a glitch. And the camera moved, which made it look like that live feed had been cut and intercepted and changed over to a pre-recorded feed. Just look into this. Don't believe a word I say. Go in and look at all the reports of the Maxwell trial. Go and look at if this technology is possible. It is. I mean, do you honestly think like something... We have AI and stuff now that can easily conjure up a video and say, oh, this is the video, you know. So, the fact they're treating us as though we are low IQ morons, that's what really angers me the most. Show us, or even do a Senate hearing or an independent hearing, which is non-political, and do, I don't know, some kind of a disclosure hearing, and yeah, you claim you have all this paperwork, all this evidence, blah 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 blah. Yet all we get is a crappy little memo saying that saying the most ludicrous things ever.
To put the conversation...
It's like, yeah, guys, I'm sorry the answer's boring, conspiracy theorists. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's not that it's boring, it's that it makes no sense.
Of Jeffrey Epstein and everything around the topic to rest. So now you have the three-letter organizations all working together, the DOJ, the FBI, the DV...
Hello. I go to Dalian.
Oh, sorry.
DVD, the VCR, the BBL, all
BBC.
All of them working together, now trying to sell this horseradish about there being no client list and no blackmail.
Yeah.
Oh, and the left's going to absolutely love this. Who, yeah, I'm not just blaming them. Yeah, they were complicit and could have released stuff. I mean, I do truly think if there was any evidence of Trump being involved with anything like that, they would have used that. They would have used that. Called them all the names under the sun for being some kind of child sex predator. They never use, and you know they would have used that to make him lose the presidency, but they couldn't. They couldn't. Maybe you do get celebs that use other people's planes. You know, you do get celebs that do hire out islands in the Caribbean for them and their family, and weirdly enough, like, yeah, he's always skulking around. I have no idea what he's doing. But if you've hired out a property, you expect the owner to have some boundaries and not be living in that said property with you. Now then, I ended up feeling so bad for this little boy that I was like, listen, you and me will be best friends, and all this will stop soon. I truly, truly hope for the best.
I cannot believe that they are just trying to just say that, even though it's been something they've supposedly acted on and investigated for years and made huge progress on.
Yeah, so much progress, all these files, all the victims, thousands of people, flight logs. Dude, they had flight logs.
I mean, flight logs, all these different people that didn't know each other, all had the same stories, all were giving out different celebrity, politician, royalties, names, etc. And yeah, there's no client list, even though we were told that it was sitting with she's Pam Bondi is like one of the most highest level law enforcement agents in the world. I mean, she is basically the boss of the FBI and all that. That's her purview. But she also has quite a questionable past, but I might leave that for another video regarding her and Jeffrey Epstein. So, I don't know.
Bro, there's no client list, but there are logs of thousands of rich people flying to the island. All right? Bro, stop. Like...
Yeah, but we know the fun is going to start as soon as we board. Oh dear, I'm sitting here like, I don't even know what to say. I truly don't. I'll play a few minutes of this clip, and then I think I'm going to go back and look at the testimony of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, and I'm going to go through that point by point. I just wanted to make this video because I don't want to steal Nux's entire video. It's so worth going and watching. But there's so many red flags here. So many red flags that just do not add up at all. At all. We have the pathologist that said his conclusion for the reason of death was strangulation. The cameras were obviously whipped. I'm sure you'll understand what I mean by that by now. And, yeah, where's the list? Where's all the evidence that were taken from the island, the New York home, the ranch in Texas? Where's all this evidence? Because you took out tons of it, and you're trying to tell me that there is nothing there. Yeah. Don't try and bullshit a bullshitter. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. So I'm going to leave this here. But I've got so much more evidence that I want to show you guys. I've got so much more that prove that this is nothing more than a cover-up. And it has also made me slightly lose confidence in Trump. And that's something I would never ever say. I'll still always be America first, even though I'm not American. But, yeah. Just the loss of credibility, and I think it's nuked Bongino and Cash's career. So let's see what happens next. But I will be doing more videos with evidence that I have been gathering. And many of it will shock you. Alright, I'm going to go now, guys. What do you think about this Epstein thing? Do you believe the government, or do you think that he was nothing but a degenerate who hurt a lot of people? And I can't believe he's basically getting away with it. 2 seconds, my door.